green flag comes out, and Bavalco jumps right out to the early lead. McKee jumps into that number 2 spot. Here comes Davey Franick. Franick now moves down to the inside group, picks up the number 3 position. Valentino back in spot number 4. He gets motor around the speedway all the way around. Nothing changed that time. Franick takes a run down to the bottom side. Not quite enough room that time as McKee slams the door shut. Down in the corners, hugs the bottom groove, protecting that inside line. Franick back in spot 3. Valentino 4th. Baird back in spot number 5. And Haynell spot number 6. Last lap for Falco. Hangs on to the number 1 spot. Little LJ up out there holding on to the number 1 position. Matt McKee back at spot number 2. Davey Franick, first time for him here in the 98th season out of Lafayette, New Jersey, hangs on to spot number 3. 2 laps to go this time around for race leader LJ Bavalco. Back on the number 2 spot. Franick trying to find a way to work by young Matt McKee. Runs a good groove back in spot number 2. They're closing in on the leader now down in the corner number 3. Bavalco comes off of corner number 4. Checkered flag flies the winner. 0-0 Bavalco. Second goes to McKee. Third to Franick. Fourth to Kayla Valentine. Scott Baird. The next on the pole. Alongside of her goes the 17 of Roger Koss Jr. Michael Gervais out of Southbury, Connecticut. The number 31 machine goes in spot number 3. Jack Esso out of Cohan, New York, the number 7 mount. And Ashley Knoble, the number 14 out of Walkville, New York, goes in spot number 5. 2 for the Junior 1 sportsman. Out to the early lead goes little Alyssa Bevrika. Bevrika shows the way on the number 1 spot. Tucked in right behind is Roger Koss. Koss tries to find a way to work by. Takes a peek down to the bottom side this time. Works by. Grabs the number 1 spot. Bevrika looks to rebound. Back to the inside. Runs out of room as Roger Koss hangs on to the number 1 spot. Bevrika back to spot number 2. Gervais now holding on to the number 3 position. As Jack Esso and Ashley Knoble in spots 4 and 5. Now Esso swings by, takes over the number 3 spot. As Gervais now back to the runner-up position. Roger Koss way out front right now, holding on to the number 1 spot. Alyssa Bevrika holding on to the number 2 position. Holding her own down there, protecting the bottom line, nice and tight off the corners. Esso tries to work down underneath, can't quite find a way to get by. White flag flies one more time around, and Roger Koss running way out front, comes home. Checkered flag goes to Roger Koss. Second spot goes to Bevrika. Third to Esso. Knoble picks up spot number 4. As Gervais slid high and he goes back to the number 5 position. Anthony DeRosa, the number 17 machine on the inside. Carmine Rotundo out of Middletown, New York, the number 24. Keith Leonard out of Westbrookville, the number 8. Andy Lindemann out of Boston Kill, New York. James Tomlinson, the 21. And Paul McCollum set to go. No go this time. Green flag comes out. Side by side. They go into the number 1 corner. The inside row just goes. DeRosa fires away. Look out. Lindemann gets up onto Rotundo. Now they get it straightened out. As Keith Leonard now powers out to the number 1 spot. Tomlinson back in spot number 2. DeRosa holds on to the number 3 go around. As Lindemann's got a piece of Carmine Rotundo's skirt dragging on the side there. Black flag coming out for him. Keith Leonard swings by. Very strong effort for the T&M Chassis number 8 up Keith Leonard. Gary Tomlinson holding on to the number 2 position. Anthony Rosa third. Now going to hail the heat from Paul McCullough. McCullough swings underneath. Grabs that number 3 spot away. But still, Lindemann continues to show the way out in the front. Tomlinson up there in the number 2 position with the white flag flying one more time around. Keith Leonard ducks it down to the bottom side. Goes by, picks up the checkered flag. Keith Leonard victorious. Gary Tomlinson back in spot number 2. McCullum would then finish in the number 3 go-round, followed by DeRosa in spot number 4. Rotundo in 5th, and Andy Lindemann back in spot number 6. stand corrected. That's Joey Accardo on the 00X at the tail end of the field. Green flag comes out, and Jamie Yannone fires away to the number 1 spot. Strong run last week, looking to pick it right back up here this week, hanging on to that number 1 spot. Accardo out of the race with the 00X. He'll finish back in spot number 5. Sign up to the field. Jamie Yannone way out front right now. Kane Hill's back in the number 2 position. Douglas is 3rd, and Costa back in spot number 4. Checkered flag comes out. Jamie Yannone victorious. 2nd spot goes to Kane Hill. 3rd to Rich Douglas. And 4th, the number 3 of Rich Costa. Carl Cadello out of Worcester, New York, the number 4 mount. And Bob Krummel out of Bloomingburg. Back in spot number 5 with the X machine. Igor and Calandro, 1 and 2. Nope, no go this time. Green flag flies. Brakes get hit that time in the corner. 3 wide for the number 2 spot. And Krummel makes the bold move from 5th to 1st in 1 lap. Bob Krummel strong from the back to the front. Hangs on to that number 1 spot as Jake Igor sits back in spot number 2 with the Hoop Sports Bar 00. Anthony Calandro now swings by on the low side, grabs the number 2 spot. Calandro won this event last week in this division, looking to try and make it 2 for 2, but right way out front. Calandro sits back in spot number 2. Jake Igor 3rd, followed by Johnny Lito in 4th, and Carl Cadello back in spot number 5. Bob Krummel way out front right now, taking it nice and easy, working through the lap traffic. Inside, works by Lito, now by Cadello, and Bob Krummel really working well here in his 3rd and final qualifying heat for the 4-cycle lights. Krummel down the back straightaway through 3 and 4. Checkered comes out winner, Bob Krummel. 2nd spot goes to Calandro. 3rd will be the 00 of Igor, followed by the 4 of Cadello. And Johnny Lito, spot number 5. Out of Brick, New York, Michael Talmadge, the number 9, also from Middletown, New York. Evan Berardi out of Blauville, New York, the number 69. The Outlaw, Scott Thomas in the number 28. Brian Ellert in the number 69. And the 15 of Dave Baldwin. Missing 1 cart, that would be the 69X of Berardi. Did not start. Side by side, Michael Talmadge on the outside, works by Bocchino and grabs that number 1 position. Bocchino back there in the number 2 spot, loses it now as the 69 up Brian Ellert sneaks by. Ellert out of Cutterbackville, New York, sticking like glue on the bottom. Look out, Wangmo Tango, they get it all together. Now the 69 up Brian Ellert takes Ellert out there with Talmadge back in spot number 2. Bocchino 3rd, Thomas 4th, and Baldwin back. Thomas now takes over the number 3 spot as his sights set on Talmadge, who's way out in front of him. Oh, Brian Ellert, the white flag flies one more time around for Ellert. Ellert off of turn number 4, checkered flag flies, your winner. 2nd spot going to go to Michael Talmadge. 3rd to Scott Thomas. 4th would then be Sam Bocchino, followed by Baldwin and Berardi, who did not start.
just going by what it says here.
So that was, okay.
No problem.
So that was Evan, who picked up the win in that two-cycle light event, and the number 69. Junior 2 restricted, Josh Baird out of Bloomingburg, New York. The 10J will start alongside with the number 1. Kenneth Light Jr. in the number 43, and Jimmy Wall in the number 65 on the outside. 4 competitors set to go here in the first qualifying heat for the Junior 2 restricted. Green flag comes out, and Josh Baird. Problems last week, looks like he's got it all straightened out this week. Fires away to that number 1 spot. Baird out there by about 6 heart lengths over my battle for third right now. 65 of Jimmy Wall takes it over. Light now fades back to spot number 4. Josh Baird hugging the bottom through the corners. Backfires that time in the corner 3, but still maintains that 6 heart length advantage. Now works down to the low side of Light. Light's back there in the number 4 position. Jimmy Wall holding on to the number 3 spot. Josh Baird in the number 1 spot. Sees the white flag fly one more time around. Todd McCullum second. Go by the line, Baird, McCullum 1-2. 65 of Wall third, and Kenneth Pike spot number 4. The number 30 out of Paramus, New Jersey, and Katie LeMay, the number 11 out of Westbury, New York. 3 competitors set to go in Junior 2 restricted heat number 2. Flag comes out. Brian Chin fires away to the number 1. Yannone swings by, grabs that runner position. Moffitt works to the outside, trying to close back in. But out, Katie's in the tires over in corner number 2. (45-30-11) will be the running order. Single file next time around, one more time. Right back out to that early number 1 spot. Moffitt this time closing in quickly, sits behind him, trying to close in that gap. Katie LeMay, number 3. Nothing changed that time around. Halfway sign up to the field. 4 down, 4 to go for race leader Brian Chin. Moffitt tucked in behind, following around, watching his every move. One, two. Katie LeMay back in spot number 3. Checkered comes out, and Brian Chin. Katie LeMay finishes 3 position. Beside of him, also from Middletown, New York, is Amy Lynn Creeden. Rick Lusk out of Edmiston, New York, the 06, and Joe Voigt out of Fishkill, part of Team Stealth, holds on to the number 6 position. An auspicious start to this first qualifying heat as Gary Tomlinson picks up that number 1 spot. Parker back to spot number 2 as Joey Voigt works down to the low side of Worst, picks up the number 3 spot. Voigt methodically working his way through the back, has the number 3 spot. Amy Lynn now picks up the number 4 position. Worst back to spot number 5. But James Tomlinson way out front, cruising around right now. Hangs on to that number 1 position. Tim Parker, 2, but Joe Voigt has different thoughts about it. Takes a peek, works by Parker, grabs that number 2. And in 6, holds on to spot number 2. Parker running back in the number 3 position. Amy Lynn now begins to close in. White flag flies one more time around. Gary Tomlinson comes by. Checkered flag to Gary James Tomlinson. Second spot goes to Joe Roy. Third at the wire goes to Tim Parker. Amy Creeden fourth. Chuck Rick Wilson back in spot number 6.
That should be it. Joe's already ahead. She'll be just... Yeah. Pretty soon.
Second qualifying heat, Andy Lindemann with the number 50, Bert Schatt with the number 27J, Gabriel Mendez, the number 45, Paul McCullum, the 0, and Bob Berry Jr., the 07. The green flag flies, and away we go once again. Look out! We got a parking lot in corner number 1. Try once again, this time off of corner 4. Lindemann on the inside, Schatt on the outside, tries to get down to the bottom. Gabriel down to the bottom, picks up the number 1 spot. Here comes McCullum and Berry. The inside line goes forward, outside goes backward. Gabriel Mendez continues to show the way. McCullum tucked back in spot number 2, Berry third. Now Lindemann takes a peek down to the bottom side. He'll battle with Schatt for that number 4 position, picks it up, Schatt back to fifth. McCullum now swings by Mendez, grabs that number 1 spot away. Paul McCullum out of Far Hills, New Jersey, hangs on to the 1 spot. Bob Berry takes a peek down to the bottom side out of River, New Jersey, grabs that number 2 spot away. Berry now up there in the runner-up position. Mendez is third, Schatt and Lindemann swapping 4th and 5th. But it's all showing the way up on the number 1 spot. Berry back in spot 2, coming up on the white flag one more time around. It's all Paul McCullum. Bob Berry sitting back in spot number 2. Gabriel Mendez in the number 3 position. Checkered flag flies. McCullum, Berry, and Mendez. 1, 2, 3. 4th place right down to the wire goes to Lindemann. And 5th to Bert Schatt out of Middletown, New York. And Michael Dutka out of Gardner, New York in the 3M machine. Jeff Levaex out of Phillipsburg, New Jersey, the number 44, starts on the tail side. Ouch! No go. Here we go again. Single file restart. Next time around we will go green. Single file start. Green flag comes out. Down in the corner number 1 we go. Creeden, tomorrow, Dutka, and Levaex 1, 2, and 3. Look out, Levaex in the tires, tries to get it going, sits in the wrong direction. Caution gonna come back out around the speedway. Green comes out once again. Here we go. Tamaro and Dutka wanted to look out. Problems in corner number 2. Now we've got them running single file. Creeden, Loveyitz, Dutka, and Tamara, 1, 2, and 3. Creeden protecting. Wide down in the corner, 3. Tamara, Dutka, working by Scott Tamara up on the number 1. Back to spot number 2. Loveyitz now picks up spot 3. Creeden back to spot 4. And McLaren in spot number 5. Scott Tamara, Michael Dutka, 1 and 2. Jeff Loveyitz back in spot number 3. Michael Dutka now picks up the number 1 spot. Tamara back in spot 2. White flag fly. Off the number 4 corner. Michael Dutka brings home the victory. Tamara was second, Loveyitz third, Creeden fourth, and McLaren back in spot number 5.
Tremont, West Lake, New York, 115. Look at this.
Kenny Tremont, the number 115 out of West Sand Lake, New York. And Vinny DeCicco out of Kingston, New York, the number 55.
Kenny Tremont, father. Same hometown, same number.
Well, not quite. Comes out this time. They were almost side by side as Paul Mills down the bottom side. And Clinton Mills now grabs that number 1 spot. Paul Luff back to DeCicco now grabs spot number 3. Tremont back in spot number 4. Clinton Mills hangs on to the number 1 spot. DeCicco now takes a peek up to the outside, trying to find a way to work by Luff, who sits in spot 2. Luff hangs on to the number 2 spot. DeCicco third, and Tremont back in spot number 4. Now DeCicco down on the low side, works by, grabs the number 2 spot away. White flag comes out for Mills. Clinton Mills going to be victorious this time off of corner number 4. Strong run for young Clinton Mills. Second spot going to go to the number 55 of Vinny DeCicco. Third to Paul Luff. And fourth to Kenny Tremont. Gary Palmer Jr. out of Pound Ridge, New York, the number 24. And Derick Netzley, the number 9 out of Ackworth, sits back in spot 3.
Palmer won the previous unbelievable.
You mean who? This kid Netzley? No, I'm telling you what.
Oh, yeah.
He flew by the 2 seconds.
Green flag comes out, and David Milhall shows the way, but see you later, says Derick Netzley. Netzley fires out to that number 1 spot. Super strong down the straightaway through the corners. Gary Palmer up back in spot number 2. Dave Milhall sits in the number 3 going round. Netzley doing double duty here on the weekends. He runs his 80cc quad on Saturday nights. He's 2 for 2 in the 98 season with victories. Last week won this division and is certainly the man to beat so far here this afternoon. Very strong out of Accord, New York. The number 9 machine, Derick Netzley, hangs on to it right now. Coming up on the white flag, one more time around. Palmer back in spot number 2. And Derick Netzley, impressive here in victory. Gary Palmer second, David Milhall, spot number 3rd. one spot. Look at green flag comes out, and Evan Berardi out to that number one spot. But he better be on his toes because Jeremy Quick right behind holds on to the number two spot. James Tomlinson at third. Quick had thoughts of the inside that time, not quite enough racing room. As Evan Berardi continues to run strong on the bottom, Jeremy Quick looking for a way to try and work by. Holds on to the number two spot, and James Tomlinson just waiting in the shadows. Longate sits back in spot number 4 with Tommy Wade fifth and Bob Barry spot number 6. Now we work through the back markers, and Evan Berardi strong on the front end. White flag 5 one more time around. Evan Berardi off the number 4 corner. Checkered flag is all his. Jeremy Quick second, Tomlinson third, followed by Stephen Longate, Tommy Wade, and Bob Barry. Jesse Marks out of Napa, New York, the J17, spot number 3. Keith Rowe out of Poughkeepsie, New York, the number 1 starts in spot number 4. And Arnold Riley out of Bloomingdale, New Jersey, the number 15, in spot number 5. And Leonard 1 and 2, but here comes Jesse Marks. Marks now begins the battle for that number 1 spot, drops back in line, takes back spot number 2. Polka, Marks, Leonard, 1, 2, 3, inseparable at the moment. Arnold Riley sits back in spot number 5, and Keith Rowe in the number 4 spot. Now Leonard makes a move down to the bottom side, works by Jesse Marks. Marks now back to spot number 3. Leonard strong down in the corner 3, this time with Kolka, has to back out of it. Michael Kolka running a good groove up in the number 1 spot. Here comes Leonard though, has to run down in the corner 3, and Keith Leonard takes the T&M chassis, number 8 to the front. Leonard now checked down on the field, not looking back. Kolka sits in spot number 2, Marks third. Michael Kolka sits back in spot number 2. Jesse Marks right behind, coming up. Checkered coming out. The winner, Keith Leonard. Michael Kolka second, Jesse Marks third. Fourth goes to Keith Rowe, and fifth to Arnold Riley. Division. Comes out, right to the front goes the outlaw. Scott Thomas showing the way. Chip Gross back in spot number 2, working hard to try and close the gap. Locino sits in the number 3 go round. Chip Gross gets around this time over in corner number 2. has the option of when to fire on a restart through 3 and 4, and Thomas jumped on it early. Chip Gross now back to the number 2 spot. Bocchino still in spot number 3. Coming up on 2 laps to go this time by. Thomas with a huge lead. Gross back to spot number 2. Bocchino in the number 3 going out. White flag flies. Final tour of duty. Checker flag comes out. And the outlaw, Scott Thomas, victorious. Second spot goes to Gross. Third to San Bocchino. The XR100 class, these are a couple of guys that run in the pro division. Christopher Gerda on the outside and Mike Lounsbury on the 99 inside. Saturday nights, we start practice at 5 o'clock. Racing is at 7. We've had a banner turnout of both spectators and riders the past 2 Saturday nights. Very, very successful so far in the 97 season. And these 2 guys run in a couple of different classes during the night. 3 out of Newburgh, New York. Should have come on, but it didn't. These are, we start out with the little kids on the 50 cc's, move right on up to the pro 600 class. Lounsbury dips it down on the low side. Little Mike takes over the number 1 spot. And Gerda coming back at him. They remain side by side. Now just picture 12 600cc bikes at the same time out on the speedway in a final event. Gerda worked back by. One more time around. Look out! Down goes Gerda. But he's used to that. Little Mike, the hot dog. Start up on the pole here in this 8 event. Davey Franek out of Lafayette, New Jersey will start in spot number 2. Matt McKee will go away in the number 3 position. Kayla Valentino goes in spot number 4. Scott Baird 5th. And last lap, Bavalaco of Stratford, Connecticut will start at the tail side. The WLR Construction, Buddy's Glass, Bruce Quinn Home Improvement, number 265. McKee supposed to go over to the inside. 265 to be third, Joel. When Green comes out, and right out to the early lead goes Eddie Haynell Jr. Franek sits back in spot number 2. It's Kayla Valentino all over the track, holding on to spot number 4. Babalapko sits back in spot number 5, and Baird, spot 6. But it's all Eddie Haynell Jr. hanging on to number 1 spot. Franek sits back in spot number 2, trying to close in. Lap carts now going to come into play. Haynell works up to the outside. Takes it 3 wide in the corner number 3 and 4, and Davey Franek now grabs the number 1 spot. Haynell coming back at him though. Holds on to the number 2 spot, tips it down low, but Davey Franek hangs on to it. Haynell back in spot number 2. Matt McKee, spot number 3, and Babalco, spot 4. And Davey Franek comes by, checkered flag is all his, he's victorious. Haynell second, third place coming down the wire, goes to the 265 of McKee. Babalco finishes in spot number 4. The 1X of Valentino 5th, and the 46 of Baird, spot number 6. Qualifying heat, Junior 1 sportsman. Ashley Knoble out of Walk Hill, New York, starts up on the pole with the number 14. Jack Esso, the number 7 alongside. Michael Gervais goes in spot number 3. Roger Koss, spot number 4. And Alyssa Vavrika back in spot number 5. Ashley Krummel out to the number 1 spot, fires away, hanging on to the number 1 position. Gervais back on spot number 2. Roger Claus third. Vafrikin now picks up spot 4 as Esso runs way wide. Takes a peek at the wall, gathers it all back together, sits in spot number 5. But young Ashley Krummel out of Walk Hill, New York, hangs on to the number 1 spot. Look out! She goes around Wemmel. Back on the gas she goes. Hangs on to spot number 4. Gervais hangs on to the number 1 position. Roger Claus, problems with the number 17. Gonna drop off the pace and take it back into the pit area. Claus gonna finish back in spot number 5. White flag comes out, checkered out for the number 31 of Gervais. Second spot goes to Alyssa Fabrica. Third would be the 14 of Krummel. And fourth, Esso. James Tomlinson. Andy Lindemann goes away in spot number 3. Keith Leonard back in spot number 4. Fifth would then be the 24 of Carmen Rotundo and the 17 of Anthony DeRosa. Comes out and Tomlinson fires away to the number 1 spot, but here comes Leonard. Leonard already up to the number 2 position. McCullum third, Rotundo fourth, DeRosa back in spot number 5, and Lindemann in that number 6 position. Keith Leonard already out to the number 1 spot once again. Cruising around here this afternoon. Got the T&M chassis. Number 8 working extremely well here today. Second spot is Tomlinson at the moment. That's the way they ran in the first qualifying heat. Tomlinson not giving up the fight with McCullum third and Rotundo back in spot number 4. DeRosa hangs on to the number 5 position. Checkered flag comes out. Keith Leonard easily declared. Look out for McCullum and Tomlinson. That definitely has a bearing on the final, the way they finished. Scoring will have to figure that one out as those two hit extremely hard. That's the 21. So Keith Leonard came home victorious. Wait on the official scoring to see where exactly everyone else finished on that one.
Yeah.
As the second 4-cycle heat gets set to come out on the speedway, Joey Accardo out of Middletown, New York, the 00X will start on the pole. Richie Douglas out of Pine Plains, New York, the 71, spot number 2. Kane Hills will go in the number 3 position with the number... Complete, and Rich Costa shows the way up there in number 3 with Jamie Yannone strong back there in the number 2 spot. With the new Windsor Collision Center sponsored number 17, looks down on the bottom side. Costa slams the door shut. Yannone hops him, goes over. Kane Hills now picks up the number 2 position. Accardo back to third. Yannone holds on to the number 4 position. Halfway sign up to the field. Accardo problems with the 00, drops off the base once again. Tough break for young Joey Accardo as Costa hangs on to the number 1 spot. The battle rages on for spot 2. Douglas is back there in the number 4 going out. Hills breaks over on the backstretch. Checkered flag comes out this time around. Rich Costa, the victorious. Second spot goes to Jamie Yannone. Third would be Rich Douglas. Third and final second round qualifying heat, the four-cycle light C. Bob Krummel up on the pole. Carl Cadello, spot number 2. John Lido, the 25, will go on spot number 3. The 45 of Anthony Colangelo, 4th. And Jake Agor back in spot number 5. Cadello drops way back off of it. And Krummel fires away to the number 1 spot. Bob Krummel, the X-Machine, out on the number 1 spot. Here today, look out, we got one bouncing off the wall. Checkered flag. White flag comes out that time. Checkered flag this time. Winners strong here today as well. The X-Machine of Bob Krummel. Second spot goes to the 45 of Colangelo. Third would be Agor. Fourth, Lido, and fifth, Carl Cadello. You're used to that though, right? Dave Baldwin up on the number 1 spot. The Outlaw. Scott Thomas on the number 2. Evan Berardi, the number 69 on the inside. Brian Eller, the number 69X on the outside. Michael Talmadge on the number 9 fifth. Sam Bocchino back to spot number 6. Comes out once again, and Scott Thomas fires away to the number 1 spot. Talmadge now picks up the number 2 position. Oh, look out. Talmadge gets it around over here in the 4th corner. Dave Baldwin hangs on the spot too, but now Evan Berardi grabs that number 2 spot away. Berardi sits back in spot number 2. Brian Eller comes in the number 3 position. Checker comes out. The Outlaw. Scott Thomas victorious. Berardi comes by in spot number 2. Eller would finish in the number 3 position. 4th would go to Baldwin. Light Jr. out of Orange, Connecticut, the number 43, spot number 2. Third would then go the number 1 of Todd McCullum, and the 10J of Josh Baird starts back at spot number 4. We get set to go here in Junior 2 Restricted. As Kenneth Light trying to get up to his starting spot on the outside of row 1. Green flag comes out. Light doesn't like to start in the front row, falls to the back. Here we go. Jimmy Wall hangs on to the number 1 spot. McCullum second. Josh Baird back in spot number 3. Baird won the first heat. Now has his sights set on McCullum. McCullum was the winner of this last week. Kenneth Light pulls off. He'll finish in the number 4 spot. Jimmy Wall, Todd McCullum, and Josh Baird. 1, 2, 3. cruising around in the front end. McCullum working hard to hang on to that number 2 spot. Baird sits back in the number 3 position. 2 more times to go for race leader Jimmy Wall. McCullum continues to hang on to it, but Jimmy Wall, Todd McCullum, and Josh Baird, 1, 2, 3. Flying heat number 2, round number 2. RJ, is that my lunch? Or you got a new tape in there for me? My lunch? Thank you. Green flag comes out. Katie LeMay hangs on to it. As Brian Chin works down to the low side, he'll regain that number 1 position. Katie LeMay back in spot number 2. Brian Moffett, the number 3 position. One more time around for Brian Chin. As Katie LeMay doing a fine job hanging on to that number 2 spot. Tucks it down to the bottom. Comes by in the runner-up position. Rick Wolf, the number 06 machine. Amy Lynn Creeden goes away in spot number 3 with the 61X. Chuck Alessi of Middletown, the 19, goes in spot number 4. James Tomlinson, spot number 5 with the 21. And Tim Parker of the number 8 machine back in spot number 4. Green flag comes out and Joe White fires away to the number 1 spot. Amy Lynn grabs spot number 2. Here comes James Tomlinson. Tomlinson back down to number 3 position. Creeden right down on the bottom as White hangs on to the number 1 spot. Joe White hangs on to it, Creeden second. Tomlinson tucked back in the number 3 position, knows the deal. Alessi drops off the pace as White, Creeden, and Tomlinson, 1, 2, and 3. Tomlinson this time has a run down into the number 3 corner. Bicycles grabs the number 2 spot away. Creeden falls back to spot 3, Worst back in spot 4. Joe White continues to hang on to the number 1 spot. James Tomlinson tucked back in spot number 2. Amy Lynn hanging on to the number 3 position. Rick Worst back in spot 4 as the checkered flag flies. Winner, Joe White. Second goes to Tomlinson. Third to Creeden. Fourth to Worst. Fifth to Tim Parker. Heat number 2 comes out like this. Bob Ferry Jr. starts up on the pole with the 07. Paul McCullum alongside in the 0 machine. Gabriel Mendez out of Long Island at number 45, spot number 3. Bert Schatt, spot number 4. And Andy Linderman, spot number 5. Wide for the number 1 spot. Look out, corner 3. Gabriel Mendez makes it work on the bottom side, picks up the number 1 spot. Lindemann now fires away to the number 2 position. McCullum third. Look out, they touch Bert Schatt. Now drops into that bottom side as Mendez breaks. Uh-oh. Better get Mako. Linderman and Barry able to sneak through. There we go. There you go. Chat back up there into number 3 spot. As Lindemann slides a little high, Barry peeks down to the bottom side. No go, backs out, thinks better. Now tips it back down. McCollum this time sneaks underneath Chat. Chat has a problem. Hopefully he'll be able to tuck it in the inside, and does, as they're really mixing it up for the number 1 spot. Lindemann has it. McCollum wants it. McCullough comes down low, swings by, picks it up. Lindemann back to second. Mendez will then be back in spot number 3, and Barry spot 4. Paul McCollum out on the front. Mendez now swings by, picks up spot number 2. White flag flies one more time around. And Paul McCollum going to come home victorious. Second spot goes to Mendez. Third to Lindemann, and fourth to Bob Barry. Green flag comes out. Look out. Here we go again. Brunching and bunching here on the front straightaway.
These two boys go at it like that. 44 on every avenue. And
in spot number 5, all in their proper starting lineup. Probably get the green. Scott Tamaro out to the number 1 spot. Dudka runs the outside line, trying to make it work for the number 2 spot. McLaren has spot number 2 right now. Dudka sneaks high, comes back down low. Look out, Dudka. Swings by, grabs the number 2 spot. McLaren back to 3rd. Danny Creeden 4th, and Lobeas back in spot number 5. Scott Camaro way out front right now. As Tamaro way out front, holding on to the number 1 spot. Dutka's back in spot number 2. Danny Creeden hangs on to spot 3. 2 lap sign up to the field right now as Tamaro and Dudka 1 and 2. Creeden holds on to 3. White flag was out that time around. Checkered will come out this time. And the win goes to Scott Tamaro. Dudka spot number 2. They'll battle for that number 3 spot. Creeden hangs on to the bottom line and brings home the number 3 spot. 4th goes to Jeff Loveitz, and 5th to Pete McLaren.
Danny was 10th. He's got us up to the last one.
Junior stop, Vinny DeCicco out of Kingston, New York. The 115 of Kenny Tremont, the 43 of Clinton Mills, and the 265 of Paula Love. Vinny DeCicco out to the number 1 spot, hanging on to it. Clinton Mills right there in the shadows. They ran 1-2 earlier on. DeCicco running strong here today. He also rides on Saturday nights in the 80cc quads. So doing double duty each weekend. Vinny DeCicco having his best run of the season, hangs on to the number 1 spot. Clinton Mills the 2nd. Tremont 3rd, and Paula Love back in spot number 4. DeCicco continues to run a fine line on the outside, drops it down low, takes it up to the outside. As Paula Love, look out, Vinny DeCicco slides high. Clinton Mills now picks back that number 1 spot up. Patience is a virtue. Clinton Mills victorious. Vinny DeCicco 2nd. Kenny Tremont 3rd, and Paula Love spot number 4. the number 8 in spot number 3.
So even though he's going to win both of the groups, he's not going to be able to start in front because he's probably going to start through, even though he won both heats. That's not fair. So we're going to put safe on that.
Netzley on the inside, Palmer on the outside. Millhall back in spot 3. Evenly spaced apart. Now Netzley begins to put a little distance between himself and second place man Palmer. Two more times around. Checkered flag comes out. Derick Netzley once again victorious with the number 9. After taking the once-over earlier on, this time Eric Lindahl will start up on the number 1 position. Green flag comes out once again, Eric Lindahl with the 442. Anthony Garcia out of New Fairfield, Connecticut. Did the once-over earlier. Got it all back together. Coming up on just 2 more times around. Second go around, heat number 1, Tommy Wade hangs on to the number 1 spot. Stephen Longate, the 5L, spot number 2. Bob Berry out of Riverville, New Jersey, spot 3. Jeremy Quick would go away in the number 4 position. Well, he's going to be in the number 3 position. James Tomlinson, spot number 5, and Evan Berardi, spot number 6. Now we see that Tommy Wade in the number 5 has elected to go to the rear. Joel, the guy that's supposed to start in the pole, wants to start in the rear. Should be clear. 21 should be short. Green flag comes out, and James Tomlinson out to that number 1 spot. Jeremy Quick now battles for the number 2 position and takes it away. Tomlinson and Quick, 1 and 2. Stephen Longate back to the number 2 spot. Barry pulls off the Speedway. Tomlinson and Quick continue to go at it. Jeremy Quick, the winner of this event last week, trying to work over Tomlinson. 2 laps to go, biding his time as Tomlinson goes higher and higher each time off that number 1 corner. Quick comes down low. He'll probably try and make the move this time, and does so. As Tomlinson bicycled, Quick works 5 runs home the number 1 spot. Tomlinson back in spot number 2. 3rd goes to Longate. 4th to Evan Berardi, and 5th to Tommy Wade. There's only 2 more races, and then the ball is the whole thing. Riley, the number 15, fires away to the number 1 spot. Oh, Coco gets back into Mark. Mark gets by. Coco goes back. Riley up to spot number 2. Keith Leonard works down to the bottom side. Oh, Jesse Marks out on the number 1 spot. Keith Leonard back to spot number 2. Riley third. Coco fourth in the number 1 machine of Keith Gross, spot number 5. Keith Leonard, smooth and methodically, works by, picks up the number 1 spot. Jesse Martin sits back in spot number 2 right now. Polka in spot number 3, Riley 4. 2 to go this time by. Scott Thomas in the number 28 out of Middletown, New York. Chip Gross in the number 69 machine out of Montgomery, New York. And Sam Bocchino in the number 11 Money 2-cycle division. Fires away to the number 1 spot. Chip Gross this time stays a little closer. Sits back in the number 2 position. Bocchino in the number 3 go round. Thomas slides high and Gross has thoughts of making a move down to the bottom side. Chip Gross all over Scott Thomas this time, not giving an inch. Chip Gross, many years of experience in the go-kart ranks, sits back in the number 2 spot. Bocchino third. Thomas hangs on the number 1 spot as Gross tries to find a way to work by the outlaw. Scott Thomas. Thomas up on the number 1 spot. Gross catches the tires that time. Now gives Thomas a little bit of a gap that he needed. Gross back in spot number 2 and Bocchino in the number 3 position. White flag flies one more time around. Scott Thomas, Chip Gross, and Sam Bocchino. Checker down the outlaw. Rosa. And the 00 machine of Jake Agor. Row 4 goes to the 24 of Carmine Rotundo and the 25 of John Lido. Row number 5 then would be the 00X of Joey Accardo and the number 50 of Andy Lindemann. That's your list of eligible starters. The top 2 will transfer to the 4-cycle light main event. Double 00X and the 50. And they're all there. 10 carts, 8 laps, 2 go on, the rest go home. Good. Got a microwave around here? Green comes out. Ouch! We got a parking lot on the front straightaway once again. So we'll try it once again. Oh, once again, McCullum shows the way. Kane Hill's up there in the number 2 spot with Anthony DeRosa back in the number 3 position. Carmine Rotundo now sits up in the number 4 position. McCullum way out front. That is not in question. What's in question is who will finish second. Top 2 go on, the rest go home. And right now it's McCullum and Kane Hill. Hill in the number 6 holds on to the number 2 spot. White flag flies one more time around. The battle's going to be for that final spot. Kane Hill might lose it in the final corner. He gets hooked up. Look out, he's on his head. And the 24 comes by in the number 2 spot. Mendez alongside of Gabriel from Middletown, New York. The 61X of Amy Lynn Creeden. Tim Parker goes back in spot number 3 with the number 8 machine. Danny Creeden in the number 16, spot number 4. Jeff Lovea, spot number 5. The 06 of Rick Worth, spot number 6. Then comes the 19 of Alessi, right here in Middletown, New York. The X7 of Bob Berry, the 27 of Burchett, and the 41 of Pete McLaren. Uh-oh! We might need Mako. Green flag comes out, and Mendez shows the way. Parker back in spot number 2. Look out! Bueno, Preso, yellow flago. Previous races, and we're going to start this one single file as well. Green comes out. Here we go again. Into the number 1 corner, the 61X of Amy Lynn Creeden pulls out to the number 1 spot. Parker now swings by, picks up spot 2 as Mendez got a little sideways, gathers it all back together. Right now it's 61X and 8. Green comes back out. Look out, corner 1 as Mendez and Parker manhandling it. Coming up on just 2 laps to go. White flag flies. Keep them moving. Keep them moving. Stupid thing. Checkered flag going to be displayed. 61X and the 45. Move on. A Main Junior Sportsman 1. Green flag comes out. Good start for Davey Franick. Franick shows the way down in the corner number 1. The last lap, Bill Falco hangs on to the number 2 spot. out, problems in corner number 2. Top 2 got together over in corner number 3 and 4. The yellow flag remains out around the speedway. Green comes out this time, and Roger Cross back to the number 1 spot. Matt McKee took back to spot number 2. Gervais would then be in the number 3 position. Roger Cross wasting no time running away and trying to hide right now as McKee and Gervais back in spots 2 and 3. Davrika would be in spot 4. Davey Franick back in the number 5 position. Nothing changed that time around. Roger Cross continues to run away. Has about a half a straightaway advantage over Matt McKee, who runs back in spot number 2. Gervais has the number 3 position, and Alisa Vavrika has the number 5 spot now. 4 spot taken away by Davey Franick. Franick up to the number 4 spot. Vavrika 5th, and Balalko back in spot number 5. Roger Cross continues to dominate here with the number 17 machine. First time back with us in the 98 season. Way out front, McKee hangs on to the number 2 spot. Gervais in 3rd with the white flag flying. One more time around. Look out. Problems in corner 4 once again. Checkered flag coming out for Roger Cross. Matt McKee in 2nd. Gervais 3rd, and Bavalco spot number 4. So Davey Franick having some problems here in this A main. 2 hard hits as the